Welcome to the NAP Exam Prep Podcast, a focused 6-week series designed to support you preparing for the National Associations of Parliamentarian exam. I am Dr. Lisa Burton, and each week we're breaking down key governance concepts, procedures, and foundational knowledge you need to approach the exam with clarity and confidence. This podcast is educational, intentional, and time-bound, created to help you study smarter, understand the why behind the rules, and strengthen your overall governance knowledge. Whether you're testing for the first time or refreshing your understanding, you're in the right place. So let's get started. This is episode 4. We're covering chapters 7 and 8. Just a few reminders. The information presented is based on Robert's Rules of Order. If you see a blue gavel, it may be important for the NAP exam. And there'll be a link to the quiz in the description box below the video. And this is based on Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised in brief, the 3rd edition. So the disclaimer is posted here. Please review. So from chapters 3 to all about 7, they're all about different motions that can be made in a meeting. We've already talked about main motions, and it's important to remember to say, I move that, or I move to. The main motion is the lowest ranking of all motions. We talked about secondary motions. It's related to and takes precedence over a main motion and can be considered while the main motion is pending. Must be acted upon and disposed of prior to addressing the main motion again. Secondary motions, they assist the body in treating or disposing of main motions or other motions. So for example, the motion to amend, which we talked about by either striking out, adding, or inserting. You have the motion to postpone. You also have the motion to limit or extend debate or refer to committee. Now, there are motions that raise questions about either the pending business or how to address the pending business. Examples are point of order, point of information, appeal, which usually deals to appealing the ruling of the chair, suspend the rules, and then consideration by paragraph. And consideration by paragraph is usually done when you're talking about a revision to your bylaws or your constitution. Now, there are privileged motions, and these are motions that are related to matters of immediate or overarching importance, which without debate should be allowed to interrupt the consideration of anything. 2 examples are the motion to recess, take a few minutes off, let's recess the meeting for 30 minutes, or the motion to adjourn. Now, you can also have motions that bring a question back before the assembly. That means that's what it says. So there's business that was taken care of and somebody wasn't sure of it. They want to kind of change their mind after it has passed. Examples are reconsider, rescind, or amend something previously adopted. And all these things I'm mentioning, I will have examples for you throughout this session so you can understand how to use them. So the motion to reconsider can be moved at any point. It's not out of order, but the action is not taken until pending motions are finished. It can only be called in the same meeting or the meeting immediately after the original vote. So this motion to reconsider can only be done after all pending motions are finished. Now, for the motion to reconsider, the person placing it on the floor had to be on the prevailing side. So what does that mean? The general rule is that the motion to reconsider must be made by someone who voted on the prevailing side on the motion that's being reconsidered. Someone who voted aye, or basically yes, in the motion that won approval, or nay, no, in a motion that failed in gaining approval. So, for example, I move to reconsider the vote on the chapter hosting the joint state conference. I voted in favor of the motion. So the motion, probably in the meeting, passed that they wanted to host the joint state conference, maybe later in the meeting, or for the next meeting, the person stood up and they said, I move to reconsider the vote, and they said how they voted. So a member who did not vote on the prevailing side and wishes to move to reconsider may ask someone to make the motion for them, or the member may seek recognition and ask if someone who voted on the prevailing side would make the motion to reconsider. And notice there's a blue gavel, so make sure you understand this motion to reconsider, when it can happen, and how you should place it on the floor. So an example of reconsidering an adopted motion, and there's a question here for you to answer. So the Railroad Club is considering the purchase of new 10-foot track for a display. Joe makes a motion to purchase the track from My Tracks Are Us. Manny speaks against the motion in debate because he had prior experience with that company and believes there are better deals. The motion is eventually adopted. 2 hours later, after a recess, Manny says she did some internet research and found that Amtrak has a better arrangement. He moves to reconsider the vote on My Tracks Are Us. The chair asks you as a parliamentarian what to do. So your choices are A, advise the chair that the motion to reconsider is in order. B, advise the chair that the motion to reconsider is in order but made by Joe. C, advise the chair to ask whether Manny voted in favor of the motion. If so, advise the chair that the reconsider is in order. Or D, advise the chair that the motion to reconsider is out of order because Manny was opposed to the motion. The choice is C. Even though Manny spoke in debate against the motion, there is no indication that he voted against it. In order to be eligible, he must vote on the prevailing side, and the chair should ask him. So here's another example of the motion to reconsider. Early in the current regular meeting, the Cyclist Assembly considered a motion to join the Community Political Forum in their fight to have more cycling paths on the street. Alicia, Mary, and Mark were in favor of the motion. They spoke passionately a couple of times to convince the members to adopt the motion. The motion was adopted. Later, under new business, Alicia moves to reconsider the vote on this decision since she just found out that this is a very hot political issue that would cost a lot of money. She says that she voted earlier for the assembly to join this forum and argued for the assembly to do this because she believed what they wanted is a good thing. After more thought, she realizes now that she really didn't understand the full implications of the decision. Can she make the motion to reconsider? And the answer is yes. Alicia voted on the prevailing side, and the motion to consider is timely. Now, looking at the motion to rescind or amend something previously adopted. These are two forms of the same incidental main motion. So to amend something previously adopted is to amend a desired part of the text of a main motion, resolution, order, or rule that has been adopted at some previous time. To amend something previously adopted can also be used to substitute a different version for a previously adopted main motion. Rescind is to change by striking out an entire main motion or resolution, order, or rule that has been adopted at some previous time. Rescind is also known as repeal or a no. It is a motion by which a previous action can be canceled. So these are some of the same terminology. You might see rescind, amend something previously adopted, repeal, or annul. So an example of how we can use these motions. So rescind an adopted motion. So here's a question for you. Last month at its regular meeting, the choral singers decided to hold a Christmas concert at the new convention center on December 7th. The secretary contacted the convention center to make the arrangements, but she discovered that the rental price has doubled since last year. The singers cannot afford the current price. During the treasurer's report at the meeting this month, the treasurer explained the problem to the membership. Members still want to have the concert. Which of the following should the parliamentarian recommend as the proper action at this time? So, should the parliamentarian recommend A, the members may rescind the previous action and make a new motion with a different location for the concert? B, the members may reconsider the vote on the decision when it is called up, amend it to indicate a different location. C, it is too late to change the location since the convention has been informed that they voted to hold the concert there. They must raise the ticket price to cover the additional costs or find some other source of the additional money. D, they will need to cancel the concert this year and try again in the future. So what should the parliamentarian recommend as the proper action? And the answer is A. The members may rescind the previous action and make a new motion with a different location for the concert. So here's another question for you. During the meeting where business was pending, no one speaking, Tracy interrupts the pending business to give notice of intent to amend the previously adopted motion to purchase a Dell laptop and an HP printer by striking out HP printer. The chair replies, notice has been given that at the next meeting, and then the chair continues by saying, is there further debate on the pending motion? Question. Is the chair's response allowing Tracy's notice of intent to amend something previously adopted appropriate? And the answer is yes. The response is very appropriate. The act of giving notice can interrupt, provided no one is speaking. However, the making of the motion to amend something previously adopted cannot interrupt. So Tracy was just giving notice that she plans to put the motion to amend something previously adopted, but that's not what she's going to do now. But it'll be at the next meeting. So we have looked at different types of motions, and motions all have hierarchy. If you look at this slide, it is basically a staircase. The way you make motions, the order of motions, if you're looking at the screen, going up is how you make motions. Going down the steps is how you should vote on motions. So how do I explain this? You always have to have a main motion. So main motions are your lowest step. If you don't have a main motion, there's nothing you can do. So while a main motion is on the floor, someone says, I move to change the color from white to purple. Well, somebody could stand up while during debate, and we haven't covered this, but they can say, I move that we recess for 30 minutes. Well, yes, there's a main motion on the floor, but the motion to recess is a higher ranking motion than the main motion. So you have to take care of that motion to recess before getting back to the main motion. It's the same thing. Let's say I put a main motion on the floor. You always got to have a main motion. Someone decides to amend that motion. So you're taking care of amending the motion. Somebody stands up and says, previous question, or call the question. You have to take care of calling the question before finishing amending the motion and then getting back to the main motion. So the order of making motions, you have to make a main motion before you can postpone, amend, refer. But in voting, there are higher ranking motions that you have to take care of. So you have to take care of the motion to recess before you take care of a main motion. So we have covered everything about motions, but let's look a little bit about voting. So there's different types of votes. You can have a voice vote, which can be utilized for a vast majority of votes to speed along the meeting. The chair makes a decision on who is essentially the loudest, and they used to do this, I think they still actually do this in Parliament in England. The ones who raise their voices the loudest, the chair says they win. But if the chair is wrong, any member can call for division. And if they call for division, this forces a hand count. Now, a standing or a hand count, all must have confidence in the result of a close voice vote or any not counted hand, or standing vote. When called for aye or nay, the person raises their hands or they stand up. And it may be better for votes requiring 2/3. The chair must be confident of the result or must take a revote on their own. Members must be confident of the result or they can ask for division or move for a counted vote. Remember that the quicker votes are sometimes the least accurate, while the most accurate method might be the slowest type of vote. Now, a tie vote will defeat a motion. So let's say a motion was on the floor and 20 said yes, 20 said no. That motion fails. Now, the chair has a couple of options under a tie. The chair usually refrains from voting, which will allow the motion to still be defeated. Or the chair can vote no to force a tie and defeat a motion. The chair can vote yes, allowing a motion to succeed. This is only in a tie vote. Usually, remember, the chair is neutral. Chair doesn't usually debate. So if the chair doesn't debate and it's automatically a tie, it still falls. The chair can decide to vote yes or no. And if they vote no, it still defeats the motion. But if they vote yes, the motion will succeed. And this is only in a tie vote. Only in a tie vote. Now with voting, whether it's an election, mainly this happens during an election, we have a teller's report. And the teller's report is when we have a ballot, and those ballots have to be counted. And the chair usually appoints a teller to take 4 actions: distribute the ballot, collect the ballots, count the ballots, and report the results. Now, these ballots can be paper. They can also be electronic. Still does the same thing, but there's always a teller. So this teller's report is very important because it goes in your official documents and it gives you the result of a vote or an election. It should always have the numbers of votes cast, the number of votes necessary for the election list, each candidate, and the number of votes received, number of ineligible and rejected votes. It should not include the number of members eligible to vote. The reporting teller never declares the result of a vote valid. The results of the vote is announced by the chair when he reads the teller report. The teller report is then entered in full into the minutes and thereby becoming part of the official records of the organization. So the teller just reads the result of the vote for each election, and then the chair usually repeats it by declaring who won. So if you notice, there is a blue gavel here on this slide. And we talked about the majority versus 2/3. I want to say that was episode 1. So there are certain motions that require a majority vote. Main motion, the motion to adjourn, recess, refer to committee, amend, reconsider, and then rescind with previous notice, and then the motion to postpone. All of these motions require a majority vote. So you want to make sure you pay attention because you might see a question that says all of these motions require a majority of vote except, and you want to make sure you know which ones require a majority vote. These are the motions that require 2/3. You see this list is a little bit shorter. So a 2/3 vote is needed for previous question, to limit or extend debate, close nominations, suspend the rules, rescind without proper notice. So these motions need 2/3 vote. So make sure you pay attention to the list of 2/3 vote versus majority votes. And if you have any questions, remember you can email me at ljbforphylacter@gmail.com. Now it's time for a couple more scenario questions, and we'll be almost done with this episode. So at the monthly meeting of the East Side Newcomers, there's currently a main motion pending that we form a new special interest group for chess players. There's a second. In debate, Naomi moved to amend the motion to add with Grace as the chair. There's another second. Henry debated against this motion, saying that Grace already chairs too many committees. He ended his comments by saying, and I move to refer this issue to a special committee to research if there is enough interest in chess. There's a second. You are now the parliamentarian. The chair turns to you and asks, what should she say now? So notice what happened in this scenario, and the chair wants your advice as a parliamentarian. So your choices are, and you can see it on the answer on the bottom of the screen. A, tell her basically that the motion to refer was moved and seconded, and then ask for a debate. So the correct answer is A, since the motion to refer has a higher rank than the motion to amend. So the other choices, B, C, and D, are not even necessary to read because I kind of gave away the answer a little bit too early. But if the motion to refer shows up, it is a higher ranking motion than the motion to amend. So that has to be taken care of before going back if that motion to refer doesn't pass. Another question, and I didn't put the answer, so we get to go to the next slide. So the motion to refer is pending, but has been amended to decide the membership of the special committee. The current immediately pending motion is to refer the main motion that we form a new special interest group for chess players. During debate, Julio is recognized and say, I move that we take a 15-minute recess. Second, the chair asks you if this motion is in order. So this is basically going again with different ranks of motions. So we have the motion to refer is on the floor. Somebody wants to amend it. But then Julio stood up and said, can we recess? And the chair is going to ask you if this motion is in order. So what will you say? A, yes, recess is a privileged motion that has a higher rank than refer. Yes, recess is an incidental main motion and therefore has precedence. No, the motion to recess needs to wait until the current business is completed. No, the motion to refer cannot be interrupted according to the standard descriptive characteristics. What are you going to tell the chair? So the answer is A. Yes, recess is a privileged motion that has a higher rank than refer. So the motion to recess is not an incidental main motion since there's already a pending motion. So the other choices were definitely wrong. Another question for you. The American breed of Common Dalmatians, ABCD, is having its annual membership meeting. A noticed motion is being debated that states that to be eligible for entry in an ABCD dog show, a Dalmatian must have a minimum of 50 spots. Agnes' motion to postpone this for 1 hour, as previously illustrated, has been made and seconded. Michelle gains recognition and moves to amend the motion by striking out 1 hour, inserts 30 minutes. What vote will be required to adopt this amendment? Is it majority, 2/3, or is there no vote required? So to adopt this amendment, it is majority. A majority vote is all that is required, as this is a simple case of amending. So that was our last question. So your next steps are to review the terms and procedures we covered today. Make sure to practice recognizing when these procedures are used correctly. Focus on understanding purpose, not memorization. Remember, parliamentary procedure supports order and fairness. The exam tests understanding, not speed. Progress matters more than perfection. And always remember to trust the process. So this wraps up today's episode of the NAP Exam Prep Podcast. So make sure you review the notes. The study guide will be in the description box along with the quiz. And just as a reminder, this is a 6-week limited series. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss the next episode. I want to thank you for spending this time investing in your preparation and your leadership growth. Until next time, study with purpose and stay encouraged.